Leather Rokk here. Welcome to my channel. I owe you guys an explanation for my absence. Stay tuned for more. I heard you missed me, and I missed you too. A lot's gone on in this month. It's hard to believe it's been a month since I posted, and it has been hard to adjust from making, on a good week, 3 videos a week to not filming. And after all this time, I really do feel like I owe you an explanation. I never thought that I would have taken this long a break, and it wasn't entirely intentional. Just a whole bunch of things happened. Some of it was tech problems. Some of it was, a lot of it was stuff going on in my home. And I've been really overwhelmed with things. A lot of family things. I thought I was going to move, and I started packing, and just a whole bunch of weird things happened. Crazy stuff in my neighborhood, much of which I've already covered in prior videos, typical ghetto drama and stuff. And having problems with things like taking out the trash and the recycling and finding safe places to take it out. Oh, you hear the cats fighting? Knock it off, you two. I finally did clear up the situation I had with the place that I was taking my recycling out. They finally realized that I did in fact have permission by a higher up, and so that situation is sorted. But one of the things that I know I've discussed in prior videos was my plans to buy a used school bus so that I can work on it, turn it into a motorhome / YouTube studio for me and my cats. But then something really unfortunate happened. The money that I had for the bus unfortunately got stolen. And the person who took the money has decided that if I go and pursue legal counsel, then they will go and say that I owe money on back rent and utilities and a whole bunch of things. And it would get into this whole ugly thing. And so, and also, it was half the time whenever I really tried to film, there's absolutely no peace and quiet to do so. Whether I film in the wee hours, such as right now, it's exactly 6 a.m. on a Friday night / Saturday morning. And it's every time I think that it's quiet enough for me to gather my thoughts and start filming, then there would be some kind of disturbance outside. There has been an uptick in the violence in my neighborhood. Just today, I saw a man punch 2 different women, and he kicked a bag of food out of this homeless woman's hand violently. And then when she picked it up, he punched her. And then I saw another situation where one of the drug dealers had a beef with somebody who was driving the car, and he punched the driver, and he held onto the car's gas cap while the car finally got the green light to go. But he let go before he got carried along. I would have liked to have seen him get trailed by the car. But a couple of days ago, there was an incident where a woman who I think was, I don't know if she needed to be on medication or whether she was having a episode about overdose of drugs or something, but she was dancing around and shaking around, and she had a shopping cart, and she was like flailing it around, and she was screaming, and she was acting like she was really having some kind of hallucinations or something. And you would think of all the people in this neighborhood, somebody would have picked up the phone. Well, I called the non-emergency police number, and I asked that they send an ambulance and somebody knows how to handle psychiatric cases like that. And they did see her and take her and her stuff away. So this neighborhood, if anything, has gotten worse, and as a result, I haven't gone out too much. I haven't had a whole lot of reason to. Uh, I don't get groceries all that much, and when I do, I make sure that there's enough, for a couple months at a time and stuff. So, and just so many things have happened. Now you can see that the weather, we're definitely in the autumn. It's right now 39 degrees. I have the temperature on the bottom of my computer screen here. Uh, and oh, my birthday was a couple of days ago, and it came and went with not even a whimper. Uh, my mother baked me a cake, but we didn't have any icing, and my brother, under great duress, went out and got icing and then complained because he had to go out in the rain. And this was a drizzle, mind you. There was no thunder and lightning. I mean, in that case, I certainly understand a person not wanting to go out. I won't go out with thunder and lightning either. But just things have not been going very smoothly here. But when I got ripped off for my bus money, that means I'm down to square one. And now, frankly, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because, I mean, that was over 10 years of savings. Everything that I made, I try to save as much as possible. Yes, obviously, I do some spending. Things like cat food, my skincare, makeup, okay. But I saved as much as possible because, you'd have to be an idiot not to know that the uh, interest rates in bank accounts almost nothing for savings accounts and things. So and with inflation, you're losing money anyway. So I was saving cash, and unfortunately, like an idiot, I made a loan to somebody, and I was under the impression that I had their signature on it, and nothing was ultimately ever signed. And now this person has told me point blank they are not going to pay me back, and so I am without a means to get the bus, which would get me out of here. And I have a whole lot of things to pack up and move. And if I was only moving to within the same city, like when I lived in Los Angeles and I had to get out of a particular place, I was able to move my stuff a little bit at a time in my work bag, my dance bag, and take it to a storage on my way to work or coming home from work or something. But here, because my intention is not to go to a storage, I certainly can't afford to open up another storage thing. And I don't think there is any within walking distance anyway. And I don't know anybody who has a vehicle locally. I don't really know that many local people, even though I've been here in this town now since 9/11, but I haven't really made that many credible contacts. I have got reacquainted with some people from my past, but then again, a lot of people have died and a lot of people have moved away, and people do kind of outgrow people sometimes, especially if some people still are using drugs and drinking, and other people, like myself, get sober and stuff. So I don't know anybody with a vehicle that could even help me move. And now that I don't have my bus fund, I'm back to square one. Cassie! Oh, Tabby boy. It's stupid. Why am I trying to yell at a deaf cat, right? But Tabby boy, I know you don't have any problem with your hearing. He doesn't have any problem with his peeing either. He went in the grow room, and a bag that I had kept Christmas ornaments had a pile of yellow liquid on it. Hee wee wee. So, but maybe in a few minutes I'll show you my plants. So, let you be the judge of how things are doing. What are you doing? But as far as work goes, I'm on a lot of mailing lists, including the New Jersey COVID-19 vaccination site, and they have all kinds of New Jersey information. And they were saying how the Board of Elections were desperate for poll workers. And I have worked the polls back when I was 18 years old, and I've gotten through the training twice. But the second time when I went through training, and I'm sure I must have talked about this on an earlier video, uh, I expressed concern about voter fraud and the integrity of our elections process. And this was before Trump was even on anybody's radar. But one of my teachers was a very liberal-minded person who apparently was offended by what I said. And I didn't say anything that was even politically incorrect. I really didn't. because it was a classroom setting, you know, and you don't know what other people's political affiliation. You just know that everybody's there is because they want the training and they're obviously care about voting. That's the only thing I really knew about my other classmates. But every year, I've they sent me reminders. Let us know if you're still interested in working the polls. And every year, I express interest. Stop it! And and I understand that they were paying over $21 an hour for poll workers, and they started early voting on the 23rd of October this year. But and I said that I was available every day from October 23rd till the 2nd of November, but they never contacted me, and I really could have used that money. Uh, I had to get my work check reissued for a Halle Berry movie that I worked on a little over a year ago, and they sent me the check under my birth name, which I haven't used in years, and I had to get it reissued. It took me a month to get it reissued, and when they sent it to me, they still sent it under both names, and I had to call them up and ask them why would you get another name involved? Because sooner or later, I'm going to probably have to get a bank account. And if I get a bank account, I shouldn't have to list a whole bunch of names when I only use one. That's ridiculous. So then they said that they would send me a form to fill out, but the form they sent me wasn't the sort of thing that you could actually fill out. Or maybe my computer is screwy or something. So I'm going to have to call them back during normal business hours and explain to them that they didn't send me a form that I could actually fill to get the situation sorted. Oh, yeah. The counter, I don't know what the playback is even going to be like on this video. I've known for several months now that I was going to need to get another computer, but I didn't want to tap into my bus fund, which I haven't been able to access since I don't have the money, so I don't know when I'm going to be able to get another computer. And I wanted a computer that had more RAM in it so that I could do better editing and all the different things that are involved in processing and exporting video files and all that drudgery that's associated with video making. And so this whole month that I haven't been making videos, it's been really weird because that the time that it takes to make, and even if you're not editing a video, even if it's just a live stream, which is the easiest by far video to make, as long as you're comfortable with speaking, ad-libbing on camera, and you have fairly organized thoughts, it's easier and it doesn't take a lot of time. You don't have to do any exporting of files, and also if you don't have a lot of space on your computer's hard drive, it's a lot easier to do because it doesn't have anything that's stored in your computer. Especially when I only had the Chromebook, which they don't even have hard drives. It's all everything's stored in the cloud. But I do think that live streams are easier. But not putting out the 3 videos a week, I have been able to fill my time up with other things. I still have been packing, cleaning. 2 days ago, the floor in my mother's bedroom flooded. Apparently, now the heat's on. The landlord turned on the pilot light so that we could put the furnace on. And something must be up with the heating system. The building is old. And my mother's floor was wet. And that damaged a bunch of things. And today I was going through a lot of my father's final effects, a lot of stuff pertaining to the funeral and the funeral home and all this paperwork and different things, documents that you send to them to draw up an obituary, just all kinds of things, and it brings back Imagine. And some things there are like 20 copies of, like my father's official certified death certificate. Why have we been holding on to 20 copies of this? I imagine there maybe needed to be a few copies made for some insurance things or maybe some governmental things that my mother had to fill out. I don't know, but there's a whole lot of these things, and I knew that it would stress my mother out to be digging through stuff that just reminded her of her dad and stuff. So I had to put them on hot radiators to let them dry out, and I was looking at them a few minutes ago, and I saw that there were some things that I could put in the shredder and get rid of. And there are things that we saved everything, like the tags from the flower donations and things. And it's like, what am I going to do? If I ever do get that bus, am I going to have it cluttered up with a whole lot of paper? You know, I still haven't called that cat rescue place yet to donate bags and bags and bags of clothes. Half of them weren't even originally mine. Some of them were clothes that I acquired for other people, and I misjudged their sizes. Things I thought would fit my mother don't, or whatever. There are things that I was going to actually go sell on a site called ThreadUp. But so many of the things, half the time they don't give you anything for the things you send them. And now with the COVID thing, it's taken a whole lot longer to process things. And there's so many good things that I regret giving them that I never even got a chance to wear. And they didn't give me anything for them. So I decided to donate these things to this cat rescue charity that has a thrift store. And I never have gotten around to doing that. And the thing is that people are going to have to come here to the house and pick it up because I would have to take over 10 round trip bus trips to that place. And considering that I don't have my bus fund anymore, I literally don't have any cash to pay them. So the company, the people, somebody from that store is going to have to come here. And I'm hoping now that the seasons have changed, I'm hoping that the place is still open because if they're not willing to pick it up, I don't know what I'm going to do. That will at least get rid of some of the clutter here in the house. And there's things that I was going to donate even more things. I had a health scare over the summer, but the news was ultimately not bad. But there was a time when I thought that I was going to get rid of so much more because if you think that you're not going to be living too long, you think, what am I holding on to all this stuff for? But the news wasn't bad like that. So, but anyway, I feel like I'm back to square one here because I still think that getting that used bus and then taking out most of the seats and then working on it, and I know it would take a good 2 years to do all the customizing and stuff, especially considering that I'm not a tradesperson and I would have to be watching a lot of instructional videos and looking at those Time Life books and to learn a lot of the basic things, and of course having to buy some appliances that'll fit in the bus and everything, and with the kind of additional solar power that I want to be able to power some things with. Knock it off! Oh, your mama. Be good. We always got to steal the show. So and the thing is, this would be so much easier if I knew more local people, but I don't. And the people who do know I'm here, they have lives of their own. They've got jobs and they've got significant others, and a lot of them have kids, and some of them even have grandkids. And you can't expect people to drop what they're doing to help their friends out, which they're probably a lot of them more acquaintances and friends anyway. So, it's not like the connections that I have in California and elsewhere in the country, which I actually have friends that I haven't known very, very, very long, but it's proven to be very true blue. And I don't know what I would do without them. And of course, there have been some great people that I met through YouTube that I really, everybody who's extended the kindness to me and just been a friend, I really appreciate it. And I truly missed not creating content this month. It's definitely made me feel kind of empty inside. And I can't tell you how many times I had intention of, oh, I'm going to film later on in the day, and I've got my makeup on real nice, and I've got an outfit hanging up waiting. And then I'll go and fall asleep for a little bit, and the next thing you know, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. And by then, the makeup's kind of smeared. I'm thinking by the time, if I fix it up, it would be like 10 o'clock in the morning. And the people would be yapping, and there'd be all kinds of obnoxious sounds from the shenanigans outside. What are you doing? Come here. Come here. I want people to see how pretty you are. Come here. Come here. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. Oh! Oh, missed them. So, I know that was you that made wee wee in the back room. You should see my hot pepper plant has about 9 or 10 little peppers on it. And my tomato plant now is like 2 feet tall. They can live if they're not killed off in the cold. Tomatoes can last 2 years at least. I know because I brought plants in and kept them indoors. And one of the things I would like to do this week, depending on if I can find a few minutes where there isn't gangs that are monitoring, because I'm telling you, sometimes there's 4 or 5 different groups of men hanging out in front and across the street and on the corner and all around. And they're hanging out for hours and hours and hours and hours. And I literally have to put my hair under a hat and look both sides and slip out. And then if I think that there's too many people here, then there's another exit that I can go out, but that doesn't have a peephole. And there are times when I've opened that door and there is somebody standing right in front of it and I hit them in the back. Of course, I would never intentionally do that to somebody. And it would be nice if I could actually see to know where it's safer to go, because I would like to go to the the community garden plot that I used to grow things outside. I have a compost pile, coffee grounds and stuff that I've been saving that I want to turn into them. And since we're probably going to be having our first frost pretty soon, I'm sure they'll let me pick some rosemary and some sage and things, and I can put them in the grinder and have cooking herbs and things. So, but I mean, there are so many things that I was going to do. I was planning on filming, doing a Tuesday cooking stream just before my birthday because I was going to do something, for me. But then my mother said she was going to make a cake, and I planned on putting the camera on her when she was doing the baking. But then I fell asleep, and she was kind of quiet in the kitchen. She already started baking it, and I never got to show her. And I was going to ambush her and do a live stream rather than ask her and have her say no and stuff. And you can't very well film somebody when they specifically say no, but if you ambush them, then there's a little bit more leeway. At least I think so when you're talking about your mother, because who doesn't want to see somebody's mother, right? But that didn't happen. And then this weekend, I wanted to do some filming about whatever birthday party activities I thought I was going to have to do. But you know what? Uh, maybe next year. I kept on saying, maybe it would be so nice to leave town for a couple of days this year and stuff, but still, there's some areas are still negatively impacted by the COVID, and I can't just assume that I could just show up on friends' couches and stuff. I mean, there's a few places I think it's probably safe to go, but still, the bus fare would really be a hardship for me, and especially since my bus fund is now gone. And that's really, I don't want to say it's permanently screwed me up, but it's still, how do you make up for over 10 years of savings being gone? And and people are trying to say that, oh, there's so many jobs are so plentiful in this economy. Well, it depends on what kind of things you're looking for. And if you're not able to cash a check, and most jobs pay in checks, and it's not like I can sign something over and have my mother deposit in the bank. In a post 9/11 world, you just can't do that. So, but I mean, it's not for want of trying. I'm doing everything. I'm working this computer to death. I'm using all the survey sites and participating in all the different money making things that you can do, from product testing to focus groups to uh, surveys about your politics to surveys about how you use the internet and how you use email and different programs. I mean, I'm doing all these things. I'm open to uh, medical, what do you call those tests, where that are involved uh, people with different kind of either lack of health conditions or health conditions, and they test you over a period of time to see how your health holds up. There are things that, depending on your medical history, what other members of your family have had, and they test you to see if you end up getting what some of them have and stuff. And I'm applying for all these things. So I know that I'm always thinking of work and making money and taking care of my responsibilities and things. But since I don't have my bus fund anymore, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's gotten so stressed out that I've even talked to some of my friends in the cat rescue community to see if I can arrange, if shit really hits the fan, I might need somebody to hold on to my cats for a while, because there are a lot of places where you might end up going where they don't allow pets, and I don't know where I'm going to store my things. What are you doing? Mm, hold on a second. I've got two kitties. I'm going to show up with at least one of them. Yes. Oh, look what I got. I got my Cassie. And Cassie, I was almost going to give her a lion cut. She was so mad at her fur. She had this weird, see this piece of fur here? This this will need to be cut off somehow. And one of my friends from high school gave me a pair of clippers. Now, I have never used these before. I'm going to have to, I'm sure there's websites that tell you about how to use them, but I am going to have to shave some of it. This is like a big matted, I could use this to apply makeup with or something. It's like a little, ever since that time when I gave her a bath and her hair all matted up and stuff, and I mean, and that's another thing. I thought I was going to have to take her to a groomer's, and I heard that it was about $200 because a lot of times they have to give a cat some kind of anesthesia, even though she doesn't hear things, so she wouldn't be offended at the sound of a motor or something. Oh, all right, all right, all right, all right. And I'm thinking that's an expense I can't afford. But if shit really hits the fan, I may need somebody to hold on to my cats for a while until I get myself sorted. And it just this is so overwhelming. And there were times earlier in the season, there were times it was so hot and sweaty that I just could not bear the thought of how am I going to film when it's so hot that I have to run fans on me, and then the fans that are making me halfway cool will make you keep you from being able to hear me, because I never did get that big external microphone that I ordered. And considering the circumstances under which I was going to get it, I'm sure that I'm not going to get it. I was lucky to get that little ring light, which I don't even have. I don't have that light plugged in here. I did not want to go to bed tonight without having gone on film today, because I really feel so guilty at my not having been able to keep my schedule. I can't tell you how many times, even when I only made one video a week, there are times when I missed days because I really wasn't in the right mental space. I think that it's important to put, when you're putting out content, I think you should be positive and happy and keep people interested. And if I'm not in a positive state and if I don't feel like I'm giving something of value, why should I expect anybody to be interested in watching it? The whole idea is to put out content that people want to watch, to add something to the discourse. And I want my channel and my presence to be a spot of light in the world. And I want to give joy and information to people. And I want, when people talk in my chat rooms and things, I want them to know that it's a safe, fun space to communicate and to share who they are and to ask questions and be nice to each other. But there are just so many things that happened. There's some of the more recent live streams I did. I a few times lost control of what was going on in the chat room, and sometimes I can't get my hand on the keyboard to respond to things. And especially if I'm cooking or doing something with my hands and I can't get my hands on the computer, or I can't get close enough to the screen to see what people are saying because my vision really is not good. And I tried to make an appeal through Facebook for people to be volunteer moderators on occasion when I would do my uh, live streams, but I didn't get any takers. I got people saying they would do it, but when the metal hit the road, they flaked off. So this is why I don't enlist other people's cooperation for a lot of things. People a lot of times do end up letting you down. So the more you can do yourself, the less you're dependent on other people, the better you are. That's always been true for me. But sometimes you have no choice but to ask for people's help. And I hate asking people for help for things. And I hate showing my weaknesses. I mean, on one hand, maybe it makes us seem more human and more relatable if you could see that we are just as fragile as you are, and we're just as human as you, and we're just as imperfect as whoever is watching us. But I don't ever want to seem like I'm needy or like I want more of people than the views that I'm getting. But that's another thing that it's really been bothering me, and that has made it easier for me to not make content and keep to my schedule. Because YouTube gives us back-end analytics and diagnostics and stuff and lets us know all these different ways that our channel is doing. And the more I was looking at the diagnostics, they would say things like, what percentage of your total video was being watched? And I was getting these ridiculously, embarrassingly low numbers, like 6%. Who watches only 6% of the video, unless that video sucks? I mean, if I had a contract to have a TV show on one of the networks and people weren't that into it, I think after the first 8 episodes or something, I would be canned. Because advertisers want to be on something that has eyes and ears. And as of my filming right now, I don't have 1,000 subs yet, so I obviously am not monetized on my channel yet. But still, you have to be putting out the content that people want to watch, and YouTube will not surface your videos if people don't seem like they're interested in it. And the subjects that I did a lot more of when I first started on YouTube, some of those video subjects that I really enjoyed a lot, like the makeup tutorials and things, were the lowest performing of all my content. And the numbers don't lie. And yet I feel that by not putting out that kind of content, I'm probably alienating a core part of my audience, and I don't want to do that either. But again, you have to do the practical thing, and to be putting all the effort that goes into making a video, even if you don't have to edit it and exporting and the trimming and all the things which makes editing really a form of drudgery. It's really the least pleasurable part of the video creating process for me. And especially if you don't have a powerful machine. I only have 4 gigabytes of RAM on this computer, if that, because it's a secondhand machine given to me by somebody that a lot of things I still have a hard time accessing, because this computer acts like it still belongs to the person who gave it to me. And I certainly, the ship has sailed as far as my being able to get more cooperation from them and do anything more to set it up. And I no longer have a relationship with Best Buy's Geek Squad, so I don't have the total tech support package anymore. So I can't just make a call and set up an appointment and get my tech serviced. I also never learned how to get the video footage of the Atlantic City 9/11 memorial that I shot on this cell phone here, that I want to get the data from this into this computer. And I did countless searches, text searches, and looking at videos, and I never got the information in a way that I can understand it. I see you, Tabby Boy. Don't you be peeing on anything. So after a while of, you try the best to find information yourself. And then after a while, you start asking people and saying, hey, I've already invested enough hours and literally days out of my life trying to find out this information. So now I'm going to, at the risk of being lazy, I'm going to start asking. Anyway, I never found the information. And obviously 9/11 2021 is a while ago. So I have a feeling that video is probably never going to see the time of day. I'm just not worrying about it anymore. So, and I'm having a crisis of content in that I'm not sure exactly what it is people want. Sometimes when you get a new subscriber, you get an idea of the kind of content that they like, especially if they just made a positive comment on a particular video, and then right away they subscribe. Then I get an idea, okay, this person is into that. And I always look at whatever information I can find out about my new subscribers, such as the other people they're subscribed to. That gives you a lot of clues as to the kind of content. So I can learn a lot about somebody. Like, for instance, I can discover that we have political commonalities if I find out that they're following some of the same talking heads that I do. Somebody's watching, say, Donald Trump's site and Fox News Channel and Dan Bongino and stuff, and thinking, oh, another person who leans to the right. Okay, I got you there. Or somebody else maybe has a lot of animal content, or has alternative, body piercing content that they watch and stuff. Then that gives me an idea of why they subscribe to me. It's kind of a shame that YouTube doesn't have them fill out a sentence or two saying why they're subscribing. Because I don't know if that would actually intimidate people or not, but it would really be helpful to creators. Tabby boy, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, what are you doing? Excuse me. What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, come here. Eat some nut. Come on. That's right. Go ahead. You're carrying. Oh gosh. You know, they've been killing a lot of mice, by the way. I feel really bad because apparently a mouse got caught in one of those sticky traps in my mother's room, and it must have got kind of mummified. They get stuck in these glue traps, and people don't understand. I understand that they don't like mice; they want them gone, okay? But some of these ways of killing them, and you get stuck in glue, you can't move, you can't eat, you can't drink. They die of thirst before they die of starvation. That's that's torture. That's really disgusting. And to hate an animal or a creature so much that you don't care what kind of pain they suffer. Whenever I catch a cat with a mouse in its mouth, I catch the cat, open up the mouth, try to let the mouse go. By usually the mouse is pretty dead, and I have I have a burial spot for mice around here. I've thrown a few out the window. One I think landed on somebody's head. The doorbell started ringing. I think they were pissed off. Even though if you knew the circumstances behind, I wasn't deliberately trying to hit anybody. I really wouldn't do that. Even though I won't lie and say that there weren't a lot of annoying, noisy people out there. There's a whole lot of people that just have no regard for those around them. From our neighbors who turned out they do own that house, who pressured the people downstairs so that we don't have access to our trash. We still have no access to take out our trash. And sometimes they don't take out the trash cans even on trash pickup day. And you can't have your trash accumulating for a week, 2 weeks at a time in the house. That's totally slum situation. So, oh, and there was a leak in the roof in the grow room, which fortunately the water hasn't escaped the acoustical tile. But if that thing it's bulging out and you could tell it's full of water, and if anything pierces it, it could get the coats wet in there. So tomorrow the landlord is supposedly going to come do a whole bunch of repairs and things. So I mean, there's just it's been so hectic around here, not in a good way. And but I'm going to hope that I have this edited up into a video, and I hope that this will be a good enough way of explaining my act. What are you doing? And continue. Here's what's left of the birthday cake my mother baked for me. Bye. I'm very careful with the camera here. You'll see what it actually looked like. It's from one of the Betty Crocker box mixes, either Betty Crocker or maybe Duncan Hines, I don't know. But it was also Betty Crocker icing. But to give it extra texture to make it like a German chocolate cake, my mother actually took some ground hazelnuts and she put that in a bundt pan that this was baked in. And so when you put something on the bottom and you take the thing out of the cake, it ends up being on the top. And ground up hazelnuts really have a coconutty kind of consistency to them. So, isn't this nice? And I knew that I wanted to stop eating it before filming this, otherwise there wouldn't be any to show. Postscript. The landlord actually was here and he made a bunch of repairs. He brought a device into my mother's bedroom and it sucked up a lot of the excess moisture from the carpet. And he also replaced a broken light in the hallway. I was trying to change a light bulb 5 years ago, and the glass light bulb broke off in my hand, and there was a piece stuck in there. And of course, all I had to do done was trip the circuit breaker to cut the power, and then stick a potato in, and that's an easy way to remove the light. Of course, now we don't have any potatoes, but anyway, I never did that, so we were half in the dark for quite a while, but he fixed that, and there was some storm damage that some of the fascia of the building is blown off, and he thinks that that enabled, when we have some of the driving rains, water got in through the walls, and he thinks that actually that may have been the cause of the plumbing. I mean, not the plumbing, the flooding in her room. If you guys like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you like me and my content, please do subscribe if you haven't already. I will hopefully talk to you in a couple of days. Bye. And a belated happy birthday to me.